Hello, and welcome to this incredible story. It is about one of our era's greatest football players. His name is Kylian Mbappé. This video will teach you about his amazing journey. It will also enhance your English listening skills. The story is told using very simple and clear English. It is made especially for English learners. This video is for you if you are a football fan. It is also for you if you love motivational stories. Or maybe you just want to improve your English. Please watch until the end. We will explore every key moment of his life. We cover his childhood to his global stardom. Subscribe now for more great English practice. You will also find more life-changing stories. Let us begin. Part 1. The beginning of a legend. The birth of Kylian Mbappé. Kylian Mbappé was born on December 20th, 1998. He came from a small town near Paris called Bondy. Bondy was not a wealthy area. It was filled with small apartments and immigrants. Kids were always playing football in the streets. This environment shaped him. It made him tough and fast. It also made him different from others. Kylian was not born with money. But his family members were sports warriors. His father was Wilfried Mbappé, a football coach. He was strict, passionate, and very focused. He coached children at Bondy's local club. This included his own son, of course. His mother was Faiza Lamari, a handball champion. She was strong, competitive, and so determined. She once played on the French national team. His adopted older brother was Jairus Kimbo Ikoko. He was also a professional football player. Kylian watched him and learned from him. He completely admired his brother. Their house was more than just a home. It was a training ground for a future star. Kylian did not just like football. He did not simply enjoy the game. Football was his entire life. He breathed the sport every single day. He even slept with a football. He studied Cristiano Ronaldo very closely. It was like a scientist observing the stars. While other kids watched cartoons, he did not. Mbappé watched Ronaldo's goals instead. His bedroom walls were covered with Ronaldo posters. In video games, he always chose to play as Ronaldo. He thought that one day he would play with him. Or maybe he would play against him. That dream became his personal fuel. Mbappé kicked a ball for the first time at age 4. He joined the Bondy Football Club at 6 years old. His father was the coach there. He practiced every single day after school. He did not practice for just 1 hour. Sometimes he would practice for 4 hours. He was not a normal child. He was faster, smarter, and much hungrier. He trained as if his life was on the line. Deep down, he truly believed it was. One coach said this boy was special. He was already thinking like a professional at age 7. Kylian was not a good student in school. He found it difficult to sit still. His teachers complained about his high energy. They said he was too easily distracted. But his parents did not punish him for this. They completely understood him. His brain was built for movement and tactics. It was made for scoring goals. Still, he faced a lot of judgment from people. They said he was just fast and nothing more. They believed he would never make it. Only 1 in 10,000 kids succeeds. Those words hurt him deeply, but they did not break his spirit. Instead, that criticism built him up. At 12 years old, Kylian and his father drove. They went to Clairefontaine. This is France's elite football academy. It is like Harvard for future World Cup stars. He trained there and impressed everyone. Then he was accepted into the academy. But a new problem arose. Chelsea invited him to a trial. Zidane was sent by Real Madrid to meet him. PSG and other French clubs were eager to sign him. However, his parents were very worried. He was still just a child. They could not throw him into the world yet. So he went back to Bondy. He returned to hard work and training alone. He had to wait for his chance. That waiting period was painful for him. He knew he was ready for the next step, but the world was not yet ready for him. Finally, he joined AS Monaco at age 14. When Mbappe moved to AS Monaco, his life changed. He was only 14 at the time. He faced a new city and new people. There were new expectations and new pressures. He had new routines and also new fears. He left behind his mother's familiar cooking. He also left the noisy neighborhood of Bondy. He missed the small apartment and his childhood friends. Now he was living in a quiet, wealthy place. Monaco was a very polished city. It was a beautiful place. It was also expensive and shiny. But for a young boy from the streets of Bondy, it was a lot. The experience was truly overwhelming. He woke up each morning in a small academy room. It had a bed, a study table, and a locker. There was no luxury, only silence and responsibility. His daily schedule looked like this. He woke up at 6:30 a.m. He was not a morning person at all, but discipline forced him out of bed. At 7 a.m. he had his first training session. It included dribbling, speed, and passing drills. He also did running and technical drills. At 9 a.m. he had school classes. This was still difficult for him, but he managed to push through. At 12 p.m. he had lunch. It was simple food from the academy. At 2 p.m. he started his second training session. This one was more intense and challenging. There was much more pressure. At 6 p.m. he did gym work. This included strength training and balance exercises. He worked on his leg power and core. At 8 p.m. he had dinner. At 9 p.m. he watched football videos. He watched Cristiano Ronaldo and Thierry Henry. He also studied Ronaldinho and the Brazilian Ronaldo. He analyzed them like a scientist. At 10 p.m. it was time for sleep. He went to bed tired and exhausted, but he was always hungry for more success. This became his life. This routine continued day after day. It went on for weeks and then months. Most teenagers lose their motivation. They lose focus, discipline, and belief. They lose their patience. But Mbappe was different. He had a quality that others lacked. It was his mental speed. He was just as fast in his mind as on the field. He could understand football in seconds. He saw spaces before they even appeared. He could predict player movements. He reacted to situations instantly. His coaches said he had the brain of a 30-year-old, but it was inside the body of a 14-year-old boy. This was not normal at all. This was pure genius. One particular training session changed everything. It was a friendly match. The young players faced the older players. Mbappe was just 14 years old, but he completely destroyed everyone. He ran past defenders with ease. The ball seemed glued to his feet. He scored goals and dribbled past opponents. He smiled with great confidence. He seemed absolutely unstoppable. The academy director whispered that this boy was not human. News about him spread quickly. The club began to protect him. They created a special plan around him. But Mbappe did not want protection. He wanted more challenges. He wanted more pressure. He wanted to achieve greatness. On December 2nd, 2015, Mbappe made his debut. He was only 16 years and 347 days old. This was for the professional Monaco team. He became the youngest player in Monaco's history. He broke the record previously held by Thierry Henry. This was a very special moment. But Mbappe was not satisfied. He said this is only the beginning. He said he wanted more. He was 16 but spoke like a champion. Then the 2016 to 2017 season arrived. He was now 17 years old. He was still a child by age, but not in skill. He scored a total of 26 goals. He helped Monaco win League One. He also destroyed big European teams. Let's look deeper into this. Europe was not ready for him. They did not know Monaco had a secret weapon. He played against Manchester City, In the round of 16, Mbappe scored. He ran past defenders and looked fearless. Commentators worldwide asked who this boy was. He played against Borussia Dortmund in the quarterfinal. He scored again and was fast and explosive. He was like a human bullet. He faced Juventus in the semi-final. Monaco lost the match. But Mbappe scored the only goal for his team. He looked like the future of football. In just a few games, he went viral on social media. He became a European sensation. He was a target for all the big clubs. He was a dream for the fans. He was a nightmare for defenders. He was no longer just the boy from Bondy. He was now a teenage superstar. Real Madrid called him. Barcelona called him. Manchester United and Manchester City also called. Every major club wanted to sign him. But Mbappe desired something different. He wanted to inspire the people of France. He wanted to inspire Paris. He wanted to inspire kids who looked like him. He stated that boys in Bondy should dream big. So he made his choice. He chose PSG, the club from his hometown. At 18 years old, he signed a massive deal. It was one of the biggest in the world. But his decision was not about money. It was about his identity and his purpose. It was about coming home. Returning to Paris was not easy. He was not a little boy anymore. People expected him to score goals and create magic. They wanted trophies, leadership, and perfection. Every game was like an exam for him. Each one was a test and a battle. But Mbappe always delivered. He scored goals and made assists. He ran hard and inspired his team. He became PSG's brightest rising star. But he did not know what was coming next. Something much bigger and more historic was on its way. At only 19, Mbappe got the biggest call of his life. He was chosen for the French national team. It was for the 2018 FIFA World Cup. The entire world watched him. A teenager was representing his country. He carried the dreams of millions of people. Some people doubted his abilities. But doubt is just fuel for legends. Game after game, his speed shocked defenders. His confidence shocked the fans. His maturity shocked the experts. He was not just playing the game. He was performing on a grand stage. He was exploding with talent. He was defining his own legacy. He did not feel nervous. He was not afraid of the moment. He was not overwhelmed by the pressure. He knew this was his time to shine. One match in particular changed everything. Imagine this situation. A teenager was facing Lionel Messi's team. It was in the biggest tournament on earth. Billions of people were watching. And Mbappe gave one of the greatest performances ever. It was a historic teenage performance in the World Cup. What did he do? He ran 70 meters in just 7 seconds. He won a penalty for his team. He scored 2 incredible goals. He completely destroyed Argentina's defense. Commentators were screaming that this kid was unbelievable. The world finally understood. A new hero had been born. On July 15, 2018, France played Croatia. It was the World Cup final. Mbappe scored a goal. He smiled and lifted the trophy. He became the youngest player to score in a World Cup final since Pelé. He was a global superstar. He was a national hero and a symbol of hope. He was a dream for millions of people. He was a legend at only 19 years old. From a small apartment in Bondy to a World Cup champion, this is not a normal story. This is a historic achievement. Part 2. The Weight of the Crown. Life after the World Cup victory. After the 2018 World Cup, France celebrated Kylian. He was treated like a national treasure. His face appeared on magazine covers. Fans screamed his name in the streets. Children proudly wore his jersey. Companies begged him for sponsorship deals. Cameras followed him. Everywhere he went, people wanted selfies, autographs, and interviews. But Kylian did not change. He did not buy 20 cars. He did not throw wild parties. He did not lose his focus. Instead, he said he was not done yet. He wanted to be the best in the world. That is the difference between a star and a legend. He did not take a break after winning. He went straight back to work. He started waking up earlier each morning. He stayed on the training field longer each evening. In every match, he gave more than before. This was his daily routine after the World Cup. He woke up at 6 a.m. At 6:30 a.m., he did running and sprint drills. At 7:30 a.m., he worked out in the gym. He focused on legs, core, and balance. At 8:30 a.m., he took an ice bath for recovery. At 9:30 a.m., he had breakfast. His meals were designed by a nutritionist. At 11 a.m., he trained with his PSG teammates. At 2 p.m., he attended tactical meetings. This included video analysis. At 4 p.m., he had rest and family time. At 6 p.m., he did personal shooting practice. He worked on his finishing drills. At 8 p.m., he ate dinner. It was high in protein with no junk food. At 9 p.m., it was time for sleep. He did not just want to be good. He wanted to be completely unstoppable. After the World Cup, Mbappe's salary grew. He became one of the highest paid players. He was now making millions of euros each year. But he did not become arrogant. He continued to live with his parents for a long time. He still cleaned his own football boots. He always showed respect to everyone. This included coaches, drivers, and cleaning staff. He said he does not play for money. He plays to make history. This is why people admired him even more. But fame can be like fire. It can either warm you or burn you. Suddenly, everyone had an opinion about him. Is he better than Neymar? Can he win the Ballon d'Or? Is he too confident? Why does he smile after missing a goal? Is he bigger than the PSG club? Every mistake he made became a headline. Every argument he had became a rumor. This was hurtful for Kylian. He was only 20 years old. But the world treated him like a king who was expected never to fail. Kylian then made a very smart career decision. He hired a mental coach. This person helps train the mind like a muscle. The coach helped him stay calm under pressure. He learned to focus only on his performance. He was taught to silence the outside noise. He learned to avoid fights with the media. He learned how to handle hate and jealousy. He built strong emotional control. He learned a very important lesson in life. You do not have to respond to every critic. Just let your success speak for itself. At PSG, he now played alongside giants. Neymar was a Brazilian magician. Cavani was an experienced striker. Di Maria was a master of assists. Later, even Messi and Sergio Ramos joined the team. Imagine being only 20 years old. Your teammates are the players you watched on TV. It was an exciting situation, but it was also very difficult. There were big egos and large salaries. There were clashes and high expectations. Everyone expected them to win everything. Mbappe had to mature very quickly. He could not just be a fast kid anymore. He needed to become a true leader. And that is exactly what he did. Every year, PSG aimed to win the Champions League. This is the biggest club tournament in the world. Every year, Mbappe played with fire in his eyes. The world expected miracles from him each year, and yet PSG always lost. In 2019, they were knocked out. In 2020, they reached the final but lost. Bayern Munich defeated them. In 2021, they were knocked out. In 2022, knocked out again. In 2023, knocked out once more. It was a painful experience. Fans said Mbappe deserved better. They said PSG was wasting his best years. But Mbappe did not blame his team. He did not cry on camera. He did not throw any tantrums. He just worked even harder. He trained harder and focused deeper. Most people are not aware of this. Kylian Mbappé is not just fast. He is also extremely intelligent. He speaks fluent French, English, and Spanish. He reads books on leadership and psychology. He also reads about business and sports science. He studies interviews of other great athletes. He learns from Federer and LeBron James. Also Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Serena Williams. He observes their habits. He applies their mindset to his own life. He once said, "You must learn from greatness to be great." Yes, he reads a lot of books. Here are some books that inspired him. Relentless by Tim Grover. About Michael Jordan's mind. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. About mental toughness. Start with Why by Simon Sinek. About a purposeful life. He also read biographies of Cristiano Ronaldo and Pelé. He said his feet score the goals. But his mind prepares him for war. Mbappe became the face of Nike and Hublot. Also Dior, FIFA, and EA Sports. His face was on billboards in New York and Tokyo, also in Paris and Dubai. But he did not go to clubs in his free time. He did not fly to private islands. He went back to Bondy, his old neighborhood. He played with the kids on his old field. He wanted to inspire the next Kylian. A reporter once asked why he keeps coming back. He smiled and replied, "Because this is where his dream started." He owes everything to this place. Mbappe started a charity project. It is called Inspired by KM. It helps young kids in France follow their dreams. They get mentorship and stay away from crime. They are encouraged to believe in education and to believe in themselves. He does not just want to be a great footballer. He also wants to be a great human being. As Mbappe, the much power grew, rumors began to spread. People said he wanted to be the boss. They said he did not pass to Neymar. Or that he was jealous of Messi. They said he controlled the club. And that he chose who took penalties. Most of these rumors were exaggerated. But yes, some tensions did exist. Great players have big egos. This can lead to power struggles. Still, Mbappe remained professional. He said they were there to win, not be enemies. In 2020, France entered the Euro tournament. They were the favorites to win. But a disaster happened. France was knocked out in the round of 16. And Mbappe missed the final penalty kick. That miss was seen by millions of people. He received racist abuse online. He was humiliated and devastated. But he did not hide from the criticism. He stood up and said he failed. He accepted it and promised to rise again. That is the mindset of a true warrior. Mbappe was no longer just a boy with speed. He had become a thinker and a fighter. He was a leader, a symbol, and a storm. He had become a man. He faced fame, pressure, failure, and hate. And yet, he rose above all of it. France was the defending World Cup champion. This meant the whole world wanted to defeat them. Kylian Mbappé was now 23 years old. He was not the same boy from 2018. He was now a leader and a global icon. He was one of the best players on earth. He was a target for every defender. He was the man everyone was watching. This was not just another tournament. It was about revenge and proof. It was a test of his legacy. Unlike other players, Mbappe was quiet. He did not post flashy photos. He did not do too many interviews. He did not show off his luxury vacations. He disappeared into a world of discipline. He trained hard and studied his opponents. He visualized his own success. He had only one goal in mind. He wanted to win the World Cup again. He wanted to make history. There was no talking, only action. Before the tournament, France had bad luck. Karim Benzema, the Ballon d'Or winner, was injured. N'Golo Kanté was also injured. Paul Pogba and Presnel Kimpembe were injured. Christopher Nkunku was injured too. The team seemed broken. Critics said France would fail. They said the team was finished. But one man stood up inside the French camp. That man was Kylian Mbappé. He told the team that they do not cry. He said that they compete. France was in Group D with Australia, also with Denmark and Tunisia. Let's review the matches one by one. France versus Australia ended 4-1. Mbappe was on fire during the game. He did not just score, he terrified the defenders. He had 1 goal and 1 assist. He was a constant danger. France won, and Mbappe smiled. But he was not yet satisfied. France versus Denmark was 2-1. This was a very tough match. Denmark played with a lot of power, but Mbappe was unbreakable. He scored 2 goals in the game. He ran with unstoppable speed. He carried France to victory. Commentators said he was not just a player. They called him a storm. France versus Tunisia ended 0-1. Mbappe was rested for this match. France lost, but they had already qualified. He was watching and studying. He was waiting for the next war. In the round of 16, France faced Poland. The score was 3-1. This was the knockout stage. Every match from now on was do or die. And Kylian Mbappé simply exploded. He scored 2 goals and had 1 assist. His finishes were world-class. He made the legendary goalkeeper look helpless. His name was Wojciech Szczesny. FIFA posted that Mbappe was on another level. In the quarterfinal, France played England. The score was 2-1. This match was a war. England had Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane. Also Bukayo Saka and Jordan Henderson. It was a brutal and intense match. Mbappe did not score a goal, but he dragged defenders and created space. He played with tremendous heart. Harry Kane missed a crucial penalty. France won the match, and their dream continued. In the semifinal, France faced Morocco. The final score was 2-0. Morocco was the underdog story of the tournament. But France was extremely focused. Mbappe was surgical in his play. He did not score, but he created chaos. He made an assist and ran like thunder. He broke down the Moroccan defense. France was going to the final. This was the ultimate showdown. Mbappe versus Messi. France versus Argentina. Speed versus magic. The new king versus the old king. Billions of people watched. The entire world stopped to see it. Let's break it down moment by moment. In the first half, Argentina dominated. The score was 2-0. France looked very weak. Argentina was dancing on the field. Messi scored from a penalty. Di Maria scored a stunning goal. Mbappe was very quiet. People thought the game was over. They thought France was finished. But Mbappe was just waiting. In the second half, the comeback began. At the 80th minute, France got a penalty. Mbappe stepped up to take it. Goal! The score was 2-1. Just 90 seconds later, it happened again. Mbappe scored an incredible volley. Goal! The score was 2-2. Commentators screamed that it was unbelievable. Mbappe had saved France. The match went into extra time. This was the final twist. Messi scored again, making it 3-2. But Mbappe refused to lose. At the 118th minute, France won another penalty. Mbappe stepped up once more. Goal! The score was 3-3. He had a hat-trick in a World Cup final. Only Pelé had ever done that before. Mbappe became the first player in 56 years to do this. He scored 3 goals in a World Cup final. Mbappe scored his penalty in the shootout, but his teammates missed theirs. Argentina won the match. Messi lifted the trophy. France had lost. Mbappe stood there and watched. He had given his absolute everything. He scored 3 goals plus 1 penalty. That is 4 goals in total. But his team still lost. There were no tears or tantrums. He stood silent, strong, and respected. He may have lost the match, but he won the heart of the world. After the final, fans chanted his name. Players from both teams hugged him. Messi praised his performance. Legends tweeted about his greatness. FIFA awarded him the Golden Boot. He was the top scorer of the tournament. But Mbappe did not post emotional messages. He did not cry on social media. He just posted, "We will return." This was not just about football. This was about life and character. This was about power. Mbappe had faced Messi. He scored 3 goals to come back. 1 billion eyes were watching him. He felt the pressure of his legacy. And yet, he stood tall. He was still humble. He was still ready for the next war. Part 3. The Power Shift. Contracts, records, Real Madrid, and the future. When he returned to Paris in early 2023, he was not the same person. He was more focused and powerful. He was more silent and respected. But a storm was building behind that silence. Deep down, Mbappe was holding a secret. My future is not in Paris. Let's go back in time a little. Before the 2022 World Cup, he was close to a move. He was very close to joining Real Madrid. He had dreamed of this since he was 14. He even met Zidane when he was 15. He watched every Real Madrid game as a child. The fans wanted him to join. The club wanted him too. In May 2022, the world was waiting. It was just before the summer transfer window. And then the news broke. Mbappe rejected Real Madrid. He signed a massive new contract with PSG. He received a 200 million euros signing bonus. His salary was 70 million euros per year. He had full control over his image rights. He also reportedly had influence in club decisions. This included coach signings. Some called it the biggest contract in football history. Let's be clear about his decision. Mbappe did not reject Madrid because of arrogance. He stayed at PSG due to family pressure. His parents, especially his mother, were worried. They were concerned about the pressure in Spain. President Macron also called him. Yes, the president of France personally called Mbappe. He said, "Please stay in France. You are the face of our country. The country needs you right now." Imagine the president calling a footballer. That shows the level of influence Mbappe had. PSG also promised him change. They promised to build the team around him. They would bring in new players. They would create a winning system, so he agreed to stay. But in his heart, that decision was temporary. After the World Cup, PSG failed again. They were knocked out of the Champions League. Neymar was injured. Messi seemed disconnected from the team. The club was dealing with internal problems. The fans even booed Messi. The dressing room was divided. Mbappe looked tired, but not physically. He seemed emotionally drained. Whispers started to circulate. People said Mbappe wants to leave. He regrets rejecting Madrid. He feels all alone at the club. He does not trust PSG anymore. Then, in June 2023, Mbappe dropped a bombshell. "I will not extend my contract beyond 2024. The football world was shaken. This meant he could leave for free in 1 year. PSG was absolutely furious. They said if he would not sign, he would not play. They removed his name from squad photos. They excluded him from the preseason tour in Japan. They publicly humiliated him. But Mbappe did not break under the pressure. He smiled and trained alone. He remained silent through it all. He was calm because he knew his purpose. I am not fighting for money. I am fighting for control of my own destiny. While PSG pressured him, he played the long game. He refused to take a loyalty bonus. He waived millions of euros in salary. He said no to a 700 million euro offer. This offer came from Saudi Arabia. Yes, the Saudi club Al Hilal offered him that much. It was 700 million euros for just 1 year. Let that number sink in. That is 60 million euros per month, or 2 million euros per day. It is 83,000 euros per hour. But he rejected the offer. Why did he do this? Because money was not his main goal. His goal was to build a lasting legacy. Meanwhile, Real Madrid stayed silent. There were no interviews or drama, just a quiet confidence. They knew his heart belonged to them. Sooner or later, he will come. Then, in August 2023, Mbappe returned. He was back in PSG's starting lineup. PSG realized they could not bench their best player. They brought him back to the team, and he immediately started scoring goals. He assisted and dominated the games. There was no hate or revenge. He was just playing football. That is true professionalism. Despite the noise, he achieved more. Mbappe became League One's top scorer again. He broke more records for PSG. He scored goals in the Champions League. He became the all-time leading scorer for PSG. He passed Edinson Cavani's record of 201 goals. He did this at just 24 years old. The club was still confused. The media was still screaming. But Mbappe remained focused. Secret talks were happening behind closed doors. Mbappe told PSG he would not sign a new deal. "Let me leave for free in 2024. PSG finally agreed to his request. And so, the biggest story broke in February 2024. On June 3, 2024, it was made official. Kylian Mbappé signed for Real Madrid. He would join the team in July. He would wear the famous white jersey. He would play at the Bernabeu Stadium. His teammates would be Vinicius Jr. and Bellingham. Also Camavinga. It was a dream that was 10 years in the making. It was finally a reality. Mbappe was offered more money in Paris. He had more control at PSG. He was offered bigger salaries in Saudi Arabia. He had global fame in Paris. But he chose legacy instead. He chose the pressure of the Bernabeu. He chose the path of legends. Because Real Madrid is not just a club. It is a cathedral of greatness. And Mbappe did not want to be just rich. He wanted to be remembered. He did not post flashy videos. He did not say, "I told you so." He simply posted, "A dream come true." Ready for the next chapter? The world is now waiting. Because this is not the end of his story. This is the beginning of a new era. Part 4. The Legacy of Kylian Mbappé. The boy who became a global language. Behind all the noise, records, and lights, Mbappé is still that little boy from Bondy. He still visits his old neighborhood. He still hugs the kids who run up to him. He still signs autographs for hours. He still brings food to homeless shelters. He does this without telling the media. He said he knows where he comes from, and he will never forget it. This quality is very rare. Fame often changes people, but for Mbappé, fame made him more humble. Let's look at what makes him so unique. He is obsessed with learning. This is not just about football, but about life. He reads, studies, and watches legends. He is always asking questions. He once said he tries to get 1% better every day. He protects his energy carefully. He has no nightclub addiction or scandals. He has no fake friends. He does not seek attention. He keeps his inner circle very small. It includes his family and his lawyer, also his mental coach and his best friend. His younger brother Ethan is also close. He does not play the fame game. He avoids arguments on social media. He does not reply to hateful comments. He does not post luxury items to show off. He posts things with a purpose. He once said people know his name. But that is not important. What matters is if they respect his work. Thierry Henry said at 19, he was just surviving. Mbappe was winning World Cups at that age. Messi called him a beast. He said he is impossible to stop. Zidane said he has everything: speed, vision, intelligence, and character. Cristiano Ronaldo said he is like his younger self. That is not small praise. People see the goals he scores, but they do not see the daily grind. Here is his actual daily routine. It is simplified and translated. He wakes up at 6 a.m. He does not use an alarm clock. He wakes up naturally. He says the mind should wake before the machine. At 6:30 a.m., he does cardio and sprints. He also does HIIT and agility drills. He does this even when it is raining. At 8 a.m., he has a nutritious meal. It includes protein, greens, and water. He eats for energy, not for taste. He avoids sugar completely. At 10 a.m., he trains with his team. At 2 p.m., he focuses on recovery. This includes stretching and ice baths. He also does breathing work and visualization. He sees the goals before he scores them. At 4 p.m., he spends time reading or learning. He reads about leadership, history, and psychology. At 6 p.m., he relaxes. Yes, he plays the FIFA video game. He sometimes even plays as himself just for fun. At 10 p.m., it is time for sleep. There is no phone, no screen, and no light. He believes deep sleep is a secret to recovery. He has the most goals in World Cup final history. He has 4 goals in total. He was the top scorer in the 2022 World Cup. He scored 8 goals. He has over 280 professional goals before age 26. He has over 100 assists. He has over 20 individual awards. He has a golden boot and is a World Cup winner. He was named Young Player of the Year. He was French Player of the Year multiple times. He is the all-time top scorer for PSG. And now he wears the white jersey of Real Madrid. What Mbappe teaches the world is important. This is true even if you do not like football. Control your own story. Do not let others decide your path. Not the media, not society, not fear. Speak less and do more. He rarely talks trash about others. He simply performs on the field. You do not need to be loud to be powerful. His quiet leadership is highly respected. It is more respected than shouting egos. Discipline is more important than talent. He trains every day and every hour. He trains like he is still hungry for success. You can come from anywhere and succeed. Bondy was not like Paris. Bondy was not a rich place. But a world icon was born there. Kids in Nigeria scream his name while playing. Teenagers in Japan watch his training videos. Murals of him are painted on streets in South America. Schools in India use his interviews to teach English. Hollywood celebrities wear his jersey. Journalists write books about his mindset. Fans say his name with love, hope, and fire. He is still young, only in his 20s, and yet he is already a world champion. He is already a global brand. He is already a cultural icon. He is already an example for the next generation. What comes next for him? He wants to win the Champions League with Real Madrid. He wants to lead France to another World Cup. He wants to win the Ballon d'Or. He wants to become the face of modern football. Maybe he will become more than just an athlete. Perhaps he will become a leader for change. Kylian Mbappé is not just fast. He is not just talented or rich. He is not just famous. He is disciplined, smart, and grounded. He is purposeful and emotionally intelligent. He is also deeply human. He is a reminder of an important truth. Your story does not need to start in luxury. It just needs to begin with belief. This was the full story of Kylian Mbappé. A story of a boy from the streets of Bondy. A boy who carried France on his back. He faced hate with grace. He said no to money and yes to legacy. This is a story that inspires. It is a story that teaches. It is a story that will live forever. If this story inspired you, please subscribe. This story was not just about football. It was about life. It was about English practice. It was about power. Thank you for being part of this journey. And remember, you are not just watching legends. You are becoming one.